The Rickwood Bunch. The Rickwood Bunch.
That's the way we begin.
The Rickwood Bunch.
Hello and welcome to Blackmans Bay Studios. Now, just after the Second World War, the clarion call went out: populate or perish. Well, there was one street in England that did more than their fair share, and that was Breakspears Drive in St Paul's, Cray. And there was one family in particular that really pumped out the kids, didn't they, Keith?
10 of them. There was at least 10. You know, and I think we're obviously talking about the Rickwoods now. And I didn't even know, but there was actually 4 girls. I mean, we're really only going to be talking about the boys today because we didn't really have a lot to do with them.
I don't know any of them.
No, I didn't know any of the girls, so I have to apologise for that. Yeah. So what we're really concentrating on is obviously the family and the boys, and touch a little bit on Kitty and things like that.
Yeah.
So you know, where do we start, Mick? But the biggest problem we've got is that there were 6 boys. Frankie was quiet and had his own
circle of friends.
Circle of friends, and we didn't really. He used to come to the parties and that, but he was not like the others. You know, he was like a very quiet and reserved, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yes.
You know, and the other one is young Gary. I mean, Gary was he's a really nice bloke, but he was younger than us, so we really didn't have a lot.
We don't know an awful lot about Gary because he's grown up now, obviously. But you know, it wasn't when we was there, was it? He was much younger than us.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, so we really, I suppose, have to just say we haven't missed you out deliberately.
No.
You know, so look, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Old Joe, Mick.
Yeah, I liked old Joe. He was. You can see where the Rickwoods got their demeanour from, because he was just a nice bloke when he was
just a nice old man.
Welcoming.
Yeah.
Just a really nice bloke.
He liked his dance down the partridge.
Yeah, he certainly did. Yeah.
And one of the story I love is when we put the football team together, and it was really a ramshackled old football team at that particular time, and Joe decided the new Old People's Home opened up at the corner of Mickleham Road there in Chipperfield, and they had nothing in there. They literally had nothing, and Joe was talking to somebody, and Joe decided to run a series of raffles in the partridge, and so we could actually get them, get them something. So instead of giving them money, Joe then decides to organise a football match. I don't know who we played. It was a partridge. I can't remember who we played. So it was It was actually on an Easter. I think it was on an Easter Monday.
Yeah.
And so we played this game, and instead of giving the old people some money, Joe decided to ask them what they really wanted, and they wanted some outside furniture to sit outside in the summer. So Joe goes out and buys all this furniture, and had it actually up at the match. And he organised for one of the Bromley councillors, to come down to do the presentation. So he did this right pompous old bastard, he really was. Right pompous old bastard. And anyway, did the presentation, and he called Joe over after. He said, excuse me, he said, I just want to ask about my fee for coming down here. This is a charity thing, really, Fee, So Joe gets up and stands up on the old soapbox, and he says, just before you all mingle away, he said, I've just been speaking to the councillor, and he actually wants a fee for coming down here today. He said, but seeing as we've spent all the money, he said, the only thing we got is furniture. So he said, take your pick. He said, if you want a chair, take one of them. This councillor went off with, tail between his legs, really bloody sheepish.
Well done, Joe.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Good old Joe.
Yeah. So that was sort of my big recollection of Joe. And of course, you got Kitty. I mean, she was a typical Breakspears mum.
What, with hundreds of kids?
Well, no, it's not just, well, everybody was there. I mean, if you wanted something to eat, and I mean, everybody had food on the go all the time. And if you wanted something, you just popped in there, had beans on toast. It was, you know, that's how it was in them days. You know, you just sort of never went without.
Yeah.
And
she was a lovely woman, wasn't she?
She was, yes. I mean, you know, and funny, she's very much like Frankie. I mean, well, Frankie was very much like her. You know, in the way that his mannerisms and stuff like that back in them days. So, but Foot's Cray Club, Mick.
Yes. Well,
You know?
after old Joe died, Kitty started regularly coming down to Foot's Cray Club, and sort of her and the boys and us would sort of take over the club, about a third of the club in the hall.
That's right.
And it was
Saturday and Sunday night.
It was always a great night out down there, and Kitty was always in the centre there, and lovely lady.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
And you know, I suppose, you know, we're not going to take these in any particular order, are we? The boys.
No.
So
We'll leave Ricky to last for obvious reasons.
So we'll talk about Elton.
Elton, yeah.
Elton with the German helmet.
Yeah.
Eh?
Now, Elton, I have to say, Elton was a very, very unusual name in those days, wasn't it? Because everybody had ordinary names. So he was not named after Elton John or anything like that. He was genuinely the first Elton I'd ever met and heard of.
Yeah.
Never heard of that name. It was a very unusual name.
That's right.
And once again, he was very much the easygoing Rickwood demeanour, wasn't he? And he had this thing about at the parties, and especially up the Ruxley corner, he would dress up.
Secret it all.
Yeah, dress up in a German helmet and or a mask and that. Didn't it? It's funny. When I look back on it, it's just a simple little thing, but I used to think it was hilarious.
You could always spot him, couldn't you? Walk in there and you see the back of a German helmet. Yeah. Oh, Elton's in. Yeah. And he had that sort of paramilitary shirt on, you know, that family shirt.
Yeah, you had to be there, but I don't know why, but I thought it was hilarious. I really did.
One of the earliest recollections of Elton, we had a party, went round the Rickwoods as they used to in them days. Yeah. I suspect that old Joe and Kitty was down at Butlin somewhere on holiday, so that all the kids was on the rampage. And we had this party, and there was quite a few people there. And I reckon Elton was maybe 14, 15-ish, you know. And he'd been on the sherbet. And I could see him, and he was going greener and greener, like, you know. And and he's got, and you know, he's fighting, you're going, oh, you know, like that, and he's getting another mouthful of it, oh, like that, you know. Somebody walked past me and said, "You're right, Elton, you look like you're going to be sick." He went, and then when he moved down to Windsor Road,
yeah,
and he hadn't been in there only a weekend, you know, and I saw him in the club. So how's it going? He said, I was crying today. He said, laughing. I said, why? So he said, you know, he said he went out in the back garden. He said the first thing he heard was some of the old Comancheros over the back, and they going, one of them's going, "Oi mate," he said, "the Barbican's going out," and he said, "stick another tyre on it." So that's a sort of recollection of
Elton, yeah.
Elton, isn't it? How about George, Mick?
Well, George was a very, very quiet bloke again.
Or he could sup some beer.
Yeah,
he
could in the corner of the partridge, and he would be there for banging them back, wouldn't he?
God,
and because we went on holiday with him, didn't we?
Yeah. Where was it? Callum? Was it Callum? Where did we go?
No, I don't think it was. Torremolinos or somewhere like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But he spent 99.9% at the bar, didn't he? He was like...
Same spot.
If you ever seen a film called Carry On Cruising, there's two blokes sitting at the bar throughout the whole cruise, they don't move, and one of them blokes was Georgie Rickwood.
He took over a bit of the bar, like it was in the partridge, and it was actually very funny. But we came home one, we'd been out for a skinful, some disco or something like that. And as we walked back, we walked in the swimming pool. George is in the swimming pool, midnight dipping with two right gorgeous birds, isn't he? But where did he find them from? You know,
at the bar.
At the bar, you know. Unless you know, of course he went out for a walk and he slipped in while he was in there. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. What about Joey?
Yes.
Joey.
Oh, Joey. Cool.
Yeah,
Young Joey.
No,
should
young
we say.
Joey. Yeah. Now, Joey, Mr. 19th century,
Yeah.
walked everywhere.
He did.
Didn't he? Yeah. I know he never ever learned to drive, which is fair enough, but he never ever got in a bus or anything like that. He just walked everywhere.
Walked everywhere,
and
yeah.
one story I can remember about Joey and walking was me and Sandy come out the Cray Club one night about 11:30, walked over the road to catch a bus, and there's Joey and his wife Celia standing there. And I said, "Oh, hello Joe, what are you doing here?" And waiting for a fucking bus. What do you think I'm waiting for? I said, now it was a dumb-ass question, but it's in the context of Joe, it wasn't. Anyway, we got on the bus and me and Sandy sat behind Joe and Celia, and I said, "Do you realise, Joe, I feel quite privileged, you know?" He said, "Why is that?" I said, "Well, I can tell people that I've actually been on a bus with Joe Rickwood." And it's sort of funny side of it, but I can imagine Celia saying, "I'm not walking home again." I mean, he lived up St Paulswood Hill somewhere, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, you work it out, Cray to St Paulswood Hill, 11:30 at night, that's a long walk after you've spent a night in the club,
That's a
isn't it?
fair trundle.
Oh yeah.
And he loved planes and all, didn't he?
Oh
Aeroplanes.
yeah, love planes, wouldn't get on them though.
No, he was shit scared of flying.
Yeah, but
You know, he was that scared of flying, he wouldn't even get on hovercraft.
That's right. What else on
Oh, well, we see, the other thing with Joe, he always used to get his words muddled.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't he? And I think we touched on a couple of these stories when we did our old friends chatting video. But there's a couple. We used to sit in the dressing room with him, and there was one particular game we were losing 2 or 3-0 or something like that. And old Joe sits in there, and he turned into a great player.
Yeah, he was a good player. Yeah.
You know. And he said, he said, "Right, lads," he said, "we've got to go out this half." He said, "and give it some dermatation." And old Mick said, "That's a fucking disease, isn't it?"
And what about when he had that bandana on?
Well, it wasn't a bandana.
Well.
It was a tie. I mean, you know, and I think it might have stemmed from, I don't know, you know, the old South Americans used to have those bandanas with the long hair and that, you know.
Yeah.
And Joe sticks on them, but he never had long hair, Joe, did he?
No,
You know,
never ever,
you
always
know.
well groomed. But I mean, we're not bandana people,
that's
are we?
right, no.
You know.
And he's got this tie and he's tied it round his head. He looked like some soldier come out of the jungle of Vietnam, you know what I mean? Like that, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's going, made me laugh. He said, "Here come the Capachis." I'll never forget that.
Yeah. That's an old joke. Yeah.
Let's move on to Ricky, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Only got a little bit to say about Ricky.
You know, I mean, I don't know where we start. I'll give a quick story on Ricky. When in 1977 it was, we went to Bahrain, and me and Kenny went out there to work for Davy Lewis and Alex, and on the weekend we got there, they decided to have a barbecue, you know, meet and greet, you know, a few, because we went out with a couple of other blokes as well, a couple of other plasterers, and Ricky was already there, Dickie Hook was there, and we go to their apartment, what they had, and they had a nice sort of barbecue area out the side there. When we walked in, and there's a few air hostesses that I don't know where they came from. These air hostesses, you know, I just don't know. And Ricky is turned round and he's talking. He said, "Oh, Keith, hey." I said, "Bloody, I didn't even know he was there. I didn't even know Ricky was there." And was out, and he's got the apron on, like, because he's doing cooking the barbecue. You know, like you know, he's got the full apron on. He's turned round to face the barbecue, and he's got an airy arse in it. He's actually bollock naked cooking this barbecue in a Middle Eastern country, you know. Oh, come on, you know.
Yeah, the story I remember about Ricky, I hope he sees this and be a good memory for him. He was telling me about when he was 21, he was in the Royal Navy, and they was out in the Middle East, and his shipmates clubbed together and decided that as a 21st birthday treat, take him out for a night on the town, all his food, all his beer paid for, and also they paid for a woman to come the evening and all night. So he was telling me that this girl showed up and she was absolutely beautiful. She was like a china doll. And throughout the evening they're dancing and having a few beers and getting to know one another, and then have a little kiss and cuddle, and then she sat on his lap, and then they have another kiss and a cuddle, and Ricky said, I put my hand up her dress and there was a big cock and bollocks up there. Do you remember that, Ricky?
Oh dear. Some of my memories of Ricky centred around, for some unknown reason, centred around bodily functions. Yeah. I mean, it went sort of part and parcel with Ricky. Yeah. You know, I went in the toilet in the Partridge one day, and Ricky, you know, like that where you got the urinals there, and then the sit-down toilet at the end. Ricky's got the door open, right? He's got the door open. He's having a crap, and he's holding a conversation with the people in there having a piss. And it's just like it was natural as day, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was different. It was totally.
And another night in the pub, you know what blokes are like when you get in a Partridge. Someone's always farting and dropping their guts, you know. And you always knew because everybody moved to the edges, didn't they? You know, or when you know, or it cleared the dark room or something like that. I was in the bar there, and somebody dropped their guts, and Ricky came out of the dark room or out of the toilet, and everybody's God, you know, and Ricky's stood there right in the middle, and he's gone. Oh, he said, "I'll tell you what, that is actually quite a nice farty smell." That he said, "No, it is." He said, "It's not unpleasant." He said,
I'll tell you a story that happened at a party one night, because Ricky loved getting his trousers off, didn't he?
He did.
For any excuse to get his trousers
How
off.
many times did we see him do the Zulu warrior? Oh,
Yeah.
you know.
But anyway, we was at a party, and Paul Morby was at the party, and I hope Paul Morby ever watches this. And he'd had a good old skinful, and he sat down on the stairs and he dozed off. Now you can when you doze off, you can either go like that or you can go like that. Well, he went like that, and his mouth opened, and Ricky went, "Here, quick, come and have a look at Morby." So he went outside, and what he did, he took his trousers and pants off, and he straddled Paul Morby, who's like this, and he lowered himself gently, so his knob went in his mouth, and then his balls settled gently on his chin, and then he lifted off, and Paul Morby, no one ever told Paul Morby about that. So Paul, if you're watching this, that really did happen. Now believe me, it did.
I'll tell you what, it's a good job it didn't have smartphones in them days, and that would have gone viral, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have done. Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
There was we went camping on the infamous camping trip.
Yeah.
Down to Laysdown, and there was Martin Hodgson, Banwell, Ray Banwell, me, Mick. There was one other, and I don't know. It might have been George. I can't remember. And was on this. Ricky says, "Oh," he said, "Look, don't need to take the tent." He said, "I've got a 6-man tent." He said, "I'll take that." He said, "We'll be great, you know." So, you know, we'll all sleep in this 6, you know, he said there's plenty of room for everyone. So Martin Hodgson, he said, "Look, just in case," he said, "I'll take my tent." And he had I don't even know what style it was.
It's a bell tent.
Bell tent, that's it.
Like a military thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was fantastic. Anyway, we get down there. Martin puts his tent up, we put Martin's tent up, and it was beautiful, you know, sleep 4 easy, you know, comfortably. And then Ricky put his tent up, and it was it's like a one-man bivouac, wasn't it? I mean, that's what it was.
Because I had to work that Saturday, and I was the last to arrive, and I got down. The first thing he said to me is, "You're in with Ricky." I was like, "Oh, all right, okay." I'm thinking 6 berth tent.
Yes.
And then when I see it, it was like a little triangle, and
Yes.
I had a fitful night's sleep that night with Ricky, you know, cuddling up, no doubt.
We got up in the morning, and we decided they're going to walk to Minster from Laysdown across the
Yeah.
across the cliffs, and we're going through these fields, and Ricky's got no shoes and socks on. He's got his trousers rolled up to his knees, and he's just walking along, jumping in the horse shit and playing with. I'm like, this is literally jumping in it. It's all squeezing between his toes. And he's picking up handfuls of it, and he's going, look, he said it's only grass, isn't it?
He was chucking it as like a snowball, wasn't he?
Oh. Then, yeah, go on.
I was going to tell about the infamous time in the caravan down at Hastings. Now we have said this before on one of our previous DVDs, but it's worth saying again, is that when we was at the caravan camp down Hastings, Keith was down one end with, I can't remember, it was Martin or somebody like that. And I was in one bed down the other end, and Ricky was the other end. We was both sitting on our beds one day having a chat, and Ricky decides he wants to fart, and Ricky being Ricky, he decides to fart in my face, so he pulls his trousers down, turns round, and he has a follow through, doesn't he? So he shit all over me, and I had a nearly new pair of Levi's on, and I never did get them stains out, you know. And every time I was reminded of it, every time I looked at those jeans, I could see them stains on there of that dirty bastard.
And Ricky would have reminded you every time.
Oh yeah.
Are those jeans?
Yeah. Oh dear. Well, is that about it, Keith?
I reckon it's probably about it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
There is one story. It just shows the way Ricky thinks. Is that there's a certain girl who used to get in the partridge from time to time.
Yeah.
Won't say her name. And she wasn't the best looking girl in the world, was she?
No.
I mean, that's fair to say. Well, it is.
It's yeah.
And Ricky was standing in the opening to the dart room, and I was standing in the leaning up against the other room. And she walked in with her new boyfriend. And she walked in first, and both our heads followed her like that. And then the bloke walked through, and both our heads followed like that. And I looked at Ricky. Ricky looked at me and went, "They always find someone." So I think that's about it, don't you?
I reckon that's going to wrap that one up.
I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope for many of you it's brought back a lot of memories.
Yes.
And
we'll see you with the next mini-sode as soon as we can, huh?
Yes.
As soon as we can.
Thank you.
We're not sure what I'm going to do next, do
No,
we?
we don't know.
So, but it'll be posted on Facebook.
Yes.
Alright, see you later.
Bye.
This has been a Blackmans Bay Studio production.